Okay, I'm so excited about what's happening in September. Tell folks.
September 13th, you all, our first ever Raising Boys and Girls Parenting Conference called Raising Capable Kids.
We're going to have all brand new content. You and I are going to teach multiple times that day. We've got some incredible friends we've invited, good food, great coffee, all the ingredients for a perfect day.
Tickets are going fast. Hop on to raisingboysandgirls.com, link in the show notes, and get yours now.
Welcome to the Raising Boys and Girls podcast.
I'm Sissy Goff.
And I'm David Thomas, and we're so glad you've joined us for this conversation. Let's dive in. Ginna Claire Mason is a Broadway actress and singer best known for her role as Glenda the Good Witch in Wicked, both on Broadway and the U.S. national tour. While in Wicked, she had the opportunity to perform on The Tonight Show and on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Mason toured nationally with Wicked, Newsies, and Flashdance, and in Las Vegas with Duck Commander musical. She has also starred in Hallmark Channel movies such as A Holiday Spectacular, A Heidelberg Holiday, A Carol for Two, and Hats Off to Love, loosely based around the Kentucky Derby. And stay tuned this Christmas for a movie called Newport Christmas. Spoiler alert, she's a time traveler. She's done regional theater, traveled all over the globe. She earned her BFA in music theater at Elon University and served as the commencement speaker for her alma mater in 2024. Coaching aspiring young artists has become a beloved position for her. And last year, Mason released her first EP titled Prepare My Heart to Wonder. Ginna Claire is a Nashville native and is now based in New York City with her husband, Eric Moffat, and two children, Cooper and Annabelle. Stay tuned for a new movie releasing this year on Hallmark Channel and follow her on Instagram at Ginna Claire. You all are going to love this conversation, and it's not every day we get to sit down with someone who has performed on Broadway and traveled in a bubble.
I always say that the air just smells a little sweeter in Tennessee.
That's a great statement.
Yeah. And I'm in Jersey too, which is literally the Garden State, green rolling hills.
Mm-hmm.
But when I come back here and even just like drive around or look around, like I think I appreciated the terrain growing up, but it really, the hills are seriously awe-inspiring, just all-encompassing.
Yes.
Like you're wrapped up by the hills.
That's
So sweet.
Yeah.
The hills are alive with the sound of music in Middle Tennessee.
Indeed.
Well, that's a great statement.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Oh, we love coming your direction too.
Yeah, we
You
did.
do?
Yes, we were there
Mhm.
just a
Really?
few weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to come twice in the last few months.
Yeah.
What did you
Yeah.
do there?
We got to do an in-person interview with Savannah Guthrie about her new
We
book.
tag
Love
teamed
her.
with Annie.
She's
fun.
amazing.
Saw Gypsy while we were there
What'd you
with
think?
Audra McDonald.
I was just going to say, did you see any
Goodness
shows?
Okay, so
gracious.
good. She
Yeah,
was amazing.
it was
It's like at the top of my list to see right now, but it's I
you
haven't
need to
seen
go
it
while
yet.
she's doing it.
Oh, for sure.
incredible.
Oh,
Audra.
Yeah.
Okay, can I brag for a minute?
yeah, please. We want you to.
We'd
and
like
we
that.
just,
It has to do with Audra McDonald.
please, we want to
do.
hear.
But actually nothing really to do with me except for that growing up I kind of always thought, sorry, we're kind of going out of order, but I kind of always thought, I had this big Broadway dream, but I also always had this dream of being a mom someday, and I kind of thought you had to choose. And so my trajectory in my head growing up was like, well, maybe I could be on Broadway someday and then I'll be a mom and that'll be great if I could do both. And then it wasn't until I was working in the industry that I started seeing these moms who are doing this incredible balancing act, but juggling it all and doing Broadway and parenting. And I'm actually in this awesome Facebook group called Broadway Baby Mamas. And it's all Broadway moms. And, Audra McDonald's in the group. And I always geek out a little bit when she has like a very funny undercover Facebook name, but it always makes me giggle when I'm like, oh yeah, here we are just like typing. And it's a really tight-knit group and everybody's very supportive, giving each other advice about, contracts or parenting or, handing over an old stroller or anyways. You said Gypsy.
I love that.
I haven't actually spent time with her or worked with her, but we are in the same Facebook group. So.
Yeah,
That's
of course. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm really glad you enjoyed the show and thank you for supporting live theater.
Well, of
always.
course.
Was there anything
I'm
else?
bummed I didn't get to Wicked when you were doing it.
Me
Was there
too.
anything else you were considering when you were up there? Anything else you wanted to see?
Well, I was there we were both there, and I saw Wicked with Mary Kate.
Yes, my bestie.
Yes, but then we also saw Left on 10th.
With Julianne Margulies. Yeah.
I don't
And
know
Peter
it.
Gallagher. It's already off.
Oh, it's a play, right?
Yes.
Yes.
It was
Okay.
super
It was
quick. Nora
incredible.
Ephron's story.
That's awesome. Did you
Yeah.
enjoy it?
Yeah.
It was great.
Look at you. You're real theater goers. You're going to see the music, the commercial musicals, and the off the beaten path plays. That's
There you go.
fantastic.
I know.
Well, next time we come, will you give us recommendations?
Please,
Yes.
Okay.
please reach. Those are my favorite texts to get. Or like, okay, I'm coming to town. What do I see? I'll probably send you a list of at least
We would love
5.
it.
I'll give you my top 5.
Love
Maybe
that
Love
idea.
that. We would love that.
Yes. Well, we kind of jumped in already, but
We did. We're
let's
here.
go backwards for a second
Okay.
and talk a little bit about you, your family, your kids that you mentioned, and you said these Broadway dreams. But really, how did you get started?
Yeah, it's a big question.
Yeah.
I was born and raised here.
Whoop, whoop.
And just south of Nashville in Brentwood. And I was just telling y'all that my parents bought in Brentwood when it was like farmlands, when the Cool Springs Mall didn't exist. And I have 3 brothers, and my parents are very musical. My mom grew up in Memphis. My dad's from Chicago. They met at Young Life Camp. Growing up, my dad was a counselor. My mom was a camper.
Wow.
And he wooed her after camp by playing John Denver tunes. And so I feel like there was always music in our house, you know, definitely being in Music City, you're sort of surrounded by it. But whether it was playing guitar or I watched a lot of musicals growing up, watched and listened to. My favorite movies were, you know, the Pro Shot on PBS of Cats. We watched The Sound of Music almost every weekend. That's a big part of our vernacular. And like I loved Annie. And then the soundtracks I listened to a lot growing up were My Fair Lady, Annie Get Your Gun, Annie, a lot of Annie. We love you, Annie F. Downs. And then started doing shows. Oh, the other artists, because you were asking me about singers I really loved growing up. I really loved Amy Grant growing up.
Yes.
And she was actually one of my parents' Young Life kids.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in Nashville. So that was kind of full circle, but I loved her. I loved her albums. My daughter's name's Annabelle, and we call her Abby. And you know Amy Grant's song, Baby Baby?
Yes.
So I always sing, Abby Baby.
That's so good.
And I started doing theater probably because my big brothers were doing it. Like I did small school shows and things, but they started doing community theater, and I thought that was cool. I think the first thing I auditioned for with them, I didn't get. That was like 2nd grade, but I had done school shows before then and thought that was fun. And then 3rd grade was when I really started getting cast in just community theater shows. And I would audition for whatever my parents would let me go in for, whatever they had the capacity for. But I did just a lot of shows around here, which is so sweet. Oh my goodness. I have to just bookmark things really quick and say one of the reasons I came back was to see Nashville Rep did this past weekend, Sunday in the Park with George, which is a beloved Sondheim piece. And one of my friends, Christine Dwyer, who was one of my first Elphabas, she was playing Dot.
Oh,
and so one of the reasons I scheduled this trip is because I wanted to come and see this weekend of shows. And since we're talking about Nashville and theater, it was so cool. It was my first time seeing a show at Nashville Rep. And I knew Christine was going to be amazing, but I was just blown away by the whole production, the lighting, the staging, the direction, the costumes, the set, the music. Obviously, there was a live pit of musicians, but the voices, the performances, just all around so excited and impressed and happy to see just theater alive and well here. And obviously, this is a community that really super appreciates the arts. I didn't do anything that fancy, just, you know, children's theater around here, but loved it. I did a lot of shows at Starbright Children's Theater, and that was such a great experience. Learned a lot doing that. My mom, I was talking to her on the way over here. She was like, you had a really big drought between 4th grade and senior year of college. And she's right. Like I played a couple lead roles in 4th grade, and then I didn't really have any more lead roles till my senior year of college. I was like, that is true.
Well, that's something we wanted to ask you about.
I played Annie in 4th grade, so that was pretty cool. And there was a version of sort of The Wizard of Oz. It was called The Wiz of the West. And I played Dottie, who was supposed to be like Dorothy. And fourth grade was a pretty big year for me because that was the first time I ever saw a Broadway show on Broadway. Obviously, national tours come through here, and I'd seen Beauty and the Beast and Cats and other things, but it was really cool seeing a show in New York.
What was it?
It was Les Mis, and I sat in row K at the Imperial Theater.
Wow.
And I remember having a monumental discussion with my mom at intermission and sort of connecting the dots and realizing that people did this for a living. Like this was their job. My after school hobby was someone's work. And that just, to me, felt too good to be true. And it was around that time that I started doing dance classes more seriously and voice lessons with Mari Kelly, who I actually just saw yesterday. I love him. They have a school called Franklin Brentwood Arts Academy in Cool Springs, which is awesome. And wow, guys, we're all the way up to fourth grade. I need to move things along. We'll jump forward to seventh grade. Yeah, I saw the original cast of Wicked on Broadway, and that was another big turning point for me. It was the original. It was Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth, and the funny story is that I told my parents at intermission very confidently that I would play Glenda someday. And my dad, who I have to say is very supportive, but he said at the time, we were talking about this the other day, he was like, look around the theater at all these little girls. He was like, they all want to play Glenda, which he was probably right. He was a realist, and but I'd say it didn't deter me. He said I always had kind of a I'll show you attitude, which so I just knew that was what I wanted to do. And, then of course he went on to help, get me to my dance classes and pick me up and help me get to where I am. So very supportive. And also they understood and showed me at a young age that, it was a big dream and it was going to take a lot of work and something special to get from the fourth row up to the bubble.
Yes. The bubble. Yep.
Right.
And now a quick break to hear from one of our sponsors who helps us make this podcast possible.
Sissy, we had dinner with some friends last night. We were all cooking together, and I noticed they had some bad scratches on their cookware, and I couldn't help myself. Connie reports that I launched into a podcast commercial for Our Place.
I might have done the same thing because we love Our Place.
You know I'm obsessed with the Always Pan 2.0, and I just added in some bakeware because I make chocolate chip banana bread every 10 minutes, according to my wife.
What color did you get?
The sage green. It matches all my others.
Our Place makes better kitchen products that are better for you.
Most nonstick cookware still contains harmful chemicals like Teflon and other PFAS, which can leach into food, the environment, and the home. Our Place is changing that with an array of beautiful toxin-free, high-performance cookware and appliances designed for safer, simpler, and more enjoyable home cooking.
Our Place's cookware set will upgrade your kitchen in one fell swoop. The set includes 2 multifunctional Always Pans and 2 perfect pots in mini and full sizes that replace a bulky, expensive stack of cookware. With just 4 pieces, you can sear, saute, fry, bake, boil, roast, steam, and more.
This is cookware that's designed for performance and built to last. Designed in Los Angeles with over 200 patents, Our Place's products are trusted by Michelin star chefs and have over 80,000 5-star reviews.
Stop cooking with toxic cookware and upgrade to Our Place today. Visit FromOurPlace.com/RBG and use code RBG for 10% off site-wide. With a 100-day risk-free trial, free shipping and returns, you can experience this game-changing cookware with 0 risk. We've had lots of visitors at the lake house this summer. One weekend, I think we had 6 kids 6 and under.
That's a litter of puppies.
My nephew Whit told them all about Hiya Vitamins one morning. He handed one out to everyone. He's the ultimate spokesperson.
That amazing guy knows that typical children's vitamins are basically candy in disguise, filled with 2 teaspoons of sugar, unhealthy chemicals, and other gummy additives growing kids should never eat. That's why Hiya created a super-powered chewable vitamin.
Formulated with the help of pediatricians and nutritional experts, Hiya is pressed with a blend of 12 organic fruits and veggies, then supercharged with 15 essential vitamins and minerals, including vitamin D, B12, C, zinc, folate, and many others to help support immune system, energy, brain function, mood, concentration, teeth, bones, and more.
And are you tired of battling with your kids to eat their greens? Hiya now has Kids Daily Greens Plus Superfoods, a chocolate-flavored greens powder designed specifically for kids, packed with 55 plus whole food ingredients to support brain power, development, and digestion. Just scoop, shake, and sip with milk or any non-dairy beverage for a delicious and nutritious boost your kids will actually enjoy.
We've worked out a special deal with Hiya for their best-selling children's vitamin. Receive 50% off your first order. To claim this deal, you must go to hiyahealth.com/RBG. This deal is not available on their regular website.
Go to hiyahealth.com/RBG and get your kids the full body nourishment they need to grow into healthy adults.
And now back to our show.
Well, and we were so curious about that, like things that your parents did over the years that encouraged or supported you.
Yeah, definitely. I called them on the way over here and I was like, was there anything in particular that you feel like, because I just felt like they were always supportive and encouraging, but I didn't have stage parents. They were never pushing me to do anything. I had a lot of drive. But I always felt like, sympathizing and being like, hey, that's tough. I'm sorry. I'm sorry it didn't work out. And I think for me, sort of refocusing on the next thing, whether that was the next audition or the next camp or class that I could sign up for, I can honestly say I don't think there was a time when I was like, well, I guess I'm not going to do it. And I think that's definitely because I had parents who were encouraging and teachers who were supportive and encouraging. My dad, I was talking about The Sound of Music, he always said that quote from Sound of Music from Mother Superior, when God closes a door somewhere, he opens a window. And I think that's definitely true. And I think musical theater's a great opportunity for kids to get involved in. But I'd say with sort of any extracurricular, you're dealing with or learning how to deal with rejection or learning resilience. And that could be from, I can't say I played a lot of sports. I did one season of every sport. Okay, guys.
Let's go.
The athleticism is not my strong suit. But, I'm
That's
sure
not true.
I'm sure
because to play Glenda, I cannot imagine the dancing. I mean,
just the hand-eye coordination is not there. But I would imagine it's the same, teaching your kids if you're playing soccer and you don't win the game, learning what it's like when you don't get what you want or when you do have to deal with rejection or the outcome's not what you think it is. And I think resilience, I think people can help you through that, but I think you've got to learn how to navigate that.
Well, and that's
on your own.
About that? I mean, because we did a little research on you and know there were some no's in terms of the lead roles.
Oh yeah, I mean, I got no's last week.
So what about you as a 7th grader, as a 9th grader, still as an adult? What propelled you forward even in the midst of no's? Because in 30 years of counseling kids, we're seeing more kids than ever before that no's just take them out.
Yeah.
And so what caused you to keep moving forward?
So we're like to middle school, and I would say middle school and high school, I never got the role that I wanted. I still was part of productions, but I never got the lead role that I was hoping for. And I think what that taught me along the way is I really loved performing. I really loved the collaborative art form of musical theater storytelling. And I loved it if I was playing a tree. And I loved it if I was playing Annie. So I think in some ways it's helped me, not that I've been doing this so long, but I have been doing it for a while now. But, I think in some ways you can be paralyzed by the privilege of too many yeses.
Yes.
Like when I got to college.
That's a great statement.
And I had never gotten a lead role. And then other students were coming into this very competitive program who had gotten the lead in every show in high school and suddenly weren't getting lead roles. And I was like, this is just normal for me. I'm just happy to be here. I did get to play a lead role in my senior year of college, which was really fun. But I'd say even still, it's part of the job. It's part of the gig. And for me, I definitely had a one-track mind to this thing I wanted to do. So, it gave me opportunities to focus on the part I was playing or to focus on something different. I'd say a big thing happened when I was 16. I shattered my patella. I was actually doing the dance intensive at Nashville Ballet, and then I broke it again when I was 18. But breaking my kneecap twice, I think that was something that taught me resilience, especially because I had one teacher who was like, well, now you can never be on Broadway because you have this injury that's going to hold you back.
Wow.
I was like, no, I'll be fine. I'll figure it out.
Wow.
And, breaking my knee made me go from 20 hours of dancing a week to, okay, what am I going to do now? And I talked to my parents about it and ended up signing up to take opera lessons at Vanderbilt.
Wow.
With an adjunct professor there, Tracy Prentice, who's wonderful. But I think, I couldn't dance anymore in the same capacity. And so I started focusing on this other skill set that really has served me. So,
Indeed.
I think that's definitely the supportive parents. I was asking my husband too now because he gets just as invested in the auditions that I'm part of, especially if you get a callback or you get really close to something. And
sure.
I was like, what helps me the most when I'm discouraged from a no? And I think for me, sometimes it's focusing on the next audition. But he said, going, I'm sorry, that really stinks that it didn't work out this time. But focusing on the next thing. And I teach now. I'm a voice teacher and an acting coach, and I tell students,
awesome.
The gig is auditioning and loving auditioning and seeing that as an opportunity to step into that character's shoes, to bring that character to life in that moment, to show off like what you've prepared, and to be, instead of focused on the nerves behind it, like being excited for the chance to have this opportunity. And then the cherry on top to performing is sometimes you do get the role and sometimes you do get to do it in a show, but sometimes you just get to do it for that audition and enjoying that process, because auditioning is so integral to the life of a performer.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you did get the role, what was that experience like? What stayed with you?
That's a hard question because I didn't get the role right away. It was my first audition when I came to New York, but I auditioned for it, I think 8, 9, or 10 times. I auditioned for it a lot of times. So I auditioned for it right out of school. I didn't get it, but I made it to callbacks, which was really exciting. And that was for the understudy on the tour. And then a year later, I sent in a self-tape and nothing happened with that. And then a year later, I auditioned for the standby and I didn't get it for Broadway. And I was actually in Nashville visiting my family. I was on the way to a dentist appointment. And I got a call from my agent asking me if I could jump on a Zoom call with the music director. The girl that they had hired had an injury and she wasn't going to be able to fulfill the role. So I was like asked to jump on a Zoom call. So I canceled my dentist appointment, went home, threw on a dress, and got on Zoom. And he was having me sing the opening number a cappella.
No.
So the big "No One Mourns the Wicked."
That's what. Yeah,
Oh my
I don't remember what it
goodness.
was.
And that was wild. And then I had to come in again the next week. So I think we're already up to 5 auditions. And then I started as the standby on Broadway.
What's the standby mean?
So there's the person playing the role,
Uh-huh.
and then the standby is sort of the first cover.
Okay.
So your only job, you're in a principal contract. Your only job is to be at the theater, be off stage, be ready to go on should anything happen. Or if there's a planned event like a vacation or a wedding or, whatever,
Okay.
and people have to be away or if someone's sick.
Okay.
And then there's an understudy who's in an ensemble track and they're in the show and they're sort of like the second cover.
Okay.
So I was there. I was the standby for 16 months.
No.
Which means I was there for 500, 600 shows, and I went on 25 times. Sometimes with 3 months in between. So that was terrifying and a taste of the dream, and also so hard because the role is a mammoth one,
Right.
even just with the costume changes and the running around and the backstage choreography. But to vocally, physically, and then figuring out the comedy of it and not having the consistency
That's what
was really
wondering.
challenging,
Yes.
and also a good challenge that I was up for, but it never stopped being, a little bit terrifying.
Every time you would step back in, I'm sure.
Yeah, because sitting out and watching in the crowd or practicing upstairs in the rehearsal room is not like doing it with a 28-piece orchestra and 2,000 people and, with a company that's doing it 8 times a week. But everybody there was always really supportive. And then I actually re-auditioned twice to take over the role on tour. And then I did it on tour for almost 2 years. And they didn't make me audition again after that, but they gave me the role. They offered it to me for Broadway. And then I did it on Broadway for a long time, but there was a pandemic in there where we were closed for 18 months. But I think actual performances, it was like another 16 months. And then I got to audition again for the movie. So I think that does get, if someone was keeping track, I think that does add up to about 10 Wicked auditions, which is a lot of wicketing.
Wow.
But I did get to do it for a long time, on and off for 6 years. And actually, in the last couple of years, I've gone back to stand by a couple of times.
Have you really?
Just because they have to have coverage in the building. I'm like an insurance policy. So I was just there a couple months ago, which is really fun. Yeah, it's family there at the Gershwin Theater. So to answer your question, doing it has felt different in these different seasons. But I'd say is that when I started and got to do it, but then I was standing by, that was so bizarre to feel like my dream came true. And also, everybody's on stage every night doing the thing, and I'm sitting back here on the couch hanging out with my friend, the Elphaba standby. And to feel like so close to my dream. And I think that was resilience too, to be like, I'm going to be up in the rehearsal room running this vocally and physically and practicing different, jokes with, there was a makeup artist there who I really love, who's like a brother to me. And sometimes I would have him come upstairs and watch me do different versions of Popular and be like, okay, is this funnier or is this funnier? Okay, I'm going to try this. Do you think this works? And you had the opportunity to play with that kind of thing too in rehearsal. But that's so different than actually doing the show and trying something at a matinee and being like, well, that didn't land as well as I thought, but I'll try something else tonight. Being like, well, I might not get to do it again for 3 months. Anyways, I'd say, like anything, when you get the thing, whatever it is, the job, the car, it's exciting at first. And it was really exciting for me because it is something I'd worked so hard for and wanted for so long. But yeah, like anything, you start to settle into a routine. And after doing it over 1,000 times, you, of course, start dreaming like, what's next? What do I want to do? What do I want to do now? And what's the next challenge? But I really did love playing Glenda for so long, and I feel like I got to grow up with her, and she is such a dynamic character that I feel like I got to bring different colors to her in different seasons of my life. Because during the pandemic shutdown was when I had my sweet baby Cooper, and so even coming back to the role after 18 months, now a mom, that felt different. So
I bet.
Yeah. And with that role, I feel like they really they hire people that they trust to maintain the integrity of the original direction, but then also bring themselves to it. So I don't know. I have 3 brothers. I think I have like a tomboyish quality. There's different things that, make every Glenda special.
Yes. Well, speaking of what do you do next, now you have starred in several Hallmark movies. And we talk about the difference in that. What has that been? I mean, you've done a lot of things, but among all the things, that's been part of it. What's that been like? How's it been different?
It was wild. Right after we came back after the pandemic shut down, we performed on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Have you seen the Rockettes before?
Yeah.
Yes.
Incredible, right? They performed right before us at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and I remember them walking back into Macy's as we were going out to perform. It was like, 10 degrees outside, and I'm in my little yellow sundress. But they walk by and they're like goddesses. They're so strong. They're like 6 feet tall, beautiful, glittery. And then a month later, I was auditioning for the film A Holiday Spectacular, which starred the Radio City Rockettes. And a couple weeks after that, I was dancing on stage with them, wearing their costumes, my bum knee and all. They're at Radio City, and that was cool. And I just finished filming my 5th Hallmark movie.
Wow.
And I'd say it's really fun and really hard and different than doing live theater. I really like both. Ultimately, they're both storytelling mediums, and there's a skill set that crosses over that is useful. One of the biggest challenges of film that's been interesting to me is, you start Wicked, you have the momentum of sort of doing things chronologically. And that has a certain energy and movement to it. There's a beginning, a middle, and end. And there's an audience there giving you immediate feedback as to how it's going. And something that's really interesting about film is, first of all, you don't have that immediate feedback, and your audience isn't this big. It's this big.
Yes.
And sorry, I guess if someone's listening, it's different playing to a 2,000 person house versus, the audience is a camera. So doing things with film, you do everything out of order. So for example, the Rockettes movie, we filmed the last scene where I kiss my co-star first. That was the first scene we filmed because that was the day we had Radio City. So everything is based on locations. So if you're watching a movie, it's a fun thing to look for. But if you're at a restaurant, like every scene that is in that movie at that restaurant, you will film sequentially, typically, unless you're in a sitcom and have a studio setting. But it means you're looking at this big puzzle piece, and or puzzle rather, and maybe you're going to do the last scene first, and then you're going back to the beginning, and then maybe to the middle, and then back to the beginning.
Wow! So you're telling a story out of order,
telling a story,
which is different. But
it's focusing. I had an acting teacher tell me once, if you're skiing from the top of a mountain to a bottom, you're not thinking, okay, now I'm going to get to the bottom. I guess unless you just like to go straight down the mountain, you go ski to there, ski to there, ski to there, and you're focusing on the next moment of the story. So always having the understanding of where you're coming from and where you're going, but doing it all out of order. And I honestly feel like in live theater, in some ways, you have more control over the product. And with film, it's a lot to the editor to be like, okay, how are you going to piece all of this together?
Yes, so true.
But it's fun getting different takes, and there's not as much rehearsal. So it's challenging, and it's really fun, and I'm really grateful for the opportunities that Hallmark's given me, and I love getting to make movies.
Well, and in thinking about all these extraordinary moments that make up your remarkable career,
thanks.
Is there a particular moment that you can think of where you just thought some version of what in the world is happening to me right now?
So Broadway shut down March 2020, and like probably everyone, they thought, okay, well, we'll reopen in a month, see you in a month. And then it was, okay, actually probably not to the summer. And then it was, okay, probably not to the fall. And then it became really apparent that, nobody really knew. But it was about 18 months to the day that the theater wasn't happening in New York, which is
18
crazy because when Broadway was, really going in the 20s, there's never been a closure like that. With September 11th, Broadway shut down for 2 days, but 18 months is, and it's a huge industry in New York, and it's so many. I think I was part of this documentary, and I learned that 96,000 jobs were affected by the Broadway shutdown, and so it was very exciting when it came back. And so I'd say one of the coolest. Do you mean what in the world in a good way?
Yes.
Yes.
Great question.
So when Broadway reopened fall 2021, like I said, I just had a baby 4 months prior. Right before the shutdown, they'd actually measured me for a brand new bubble dress. So when we reopened, it just so happened that I had this brand new gown that was like the fluffiest, sparkliest cupcake of a dress you've ever seen. And audiences were just so happy to be back, to be experiencing live theater. We were one of 3 shows that sort of opened all at once. And it was Kristen Chenoweth, who I saw play Glenda, who's a friend and mentor now, who I've gotten to sing with on a few occasions. But she actually went out and sort of reintroduced the show to the audience.
Wow.
But it was, my husband said he's never experienced anything like it. But it was just the most raucous, supportive, excitable audience. But getting to reopen the show was really, really special. And
I bet.
it was fun because it was this grand reopen. We got to do like the Tonight Show and the parade. And people were just so excited that Broadway was back. And so was I.
Yes.
And just your theater family being reunited in that way, and happy to be telling the story again.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Amy Grant growing up, that
I
you
love
grew up
Amy
with
Grant.
her.
Yeah.
So thinking about who inspired, so you're part of we do a Music City series in the summer where we get to talk to a lot of different artists and different genres. And it's so fun to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Well, are you
We're
kidding?
delighted.
It's so fun. There's so much to learn. So is there anybody else you would say really inspired you growing up? Your career.
Definitely loved Amy Grant.
Yeah.
And I think of musical theater artists, definitely Julie Andrews. What a remarkable woman and a remarkable career she's had, and just the voice of an angel. I loved Kristen Chenoweth from when I first saw her shows. I read her book and I got all her albums, and I just thought it was really cool how she was venturing into different storytelling mediums, whether it was film and TV or being a recording artist and being an author. I thought that was really
now you're
admirable.
doing so many of those, which is so fun.
And I loved Sutton Foster. She was I remember both of my audition songs for college were songs I had picked because I loved the Sutton Foster recordings. So she's a big Broadway artist that I enjoy. But yeah, those were some artists that I love. Now my favorite singers are like, I love Kelly O'Hara. I love Kate Baldwin. Just these Broadway beasts who have just played incredible roles and lead with love and just funny, smart, kind.
It's awesome.
Okay, let's talk for a minute about your amazing kids.
Oh,
You have two, and we would love to ask you to just tell us something you have learned from one of them recently.
yeah. So Cooper will be 4 in 2 days, and Annabelle turned 2 yesterday. So their birthdays are 3 days apart. Their due dates were actually just 1 day apart. So they're really close together in age. And I think having little kids is hard. And I think if I'm being honest, the answer is probably not a glamorous one. I was kind of an all-star babysitter growing up. Like I would take care, I nannied all summer and I juggled all these kids and I had a Suburban and I had activities and star charts and rewards. And I just always thought I was going to be so good at it. And I think parenting is super humbling. You're like, wow, this is hard and this takes a village. And I'm really grateful for my husband, who's a super invested dad. And, but yeah, I think like one of the biggest things I've learned from my kids is, humility. Maybe I'm not as patient and awesome at this all the time as I thought I would be, but, I think they teach me a lot of patience and we have a lot of grace for each other. And, but my kids are awesome. My husband's a pilot, and so we can fly standby, and they're like great travelers, and they've got great little senses of humor, and they're super curious, and they definitely encourage me to stay curious. I'd say when I was playing Glenda, one of the things I realized is after becoming a parent is Glenda has really high highs and really low lows. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of like a toddler.
But you're right. She's kind of almost childlike.
Yeah, but and it's genuine and it's honest and grounded in some ways, but she really feels big feelings as big as you can feel them. And I think it's beautiful.
Well, along those lines, and humility definitely could be a piece of it. But how would you say parenting has changed you?
That would be a big one. Just like not sleeping as much, not having. I don't feel like I ever had free time before, but once you have kids, you realize, oh my goodness, I had so much time to myself. Actually,
Yes.
I think too, just like prioritizing my spouse, Eric, in a different way, and realizing, especially in this stage where they're really little, and actually, in some ways, it's getting easier. Like, at my parents' house the other day, they played together for probably 20 minutes happily. I said, I think this is a record. That's amazing. They were just digging in the dirt. They were so happy. But prioritizing each other and, scheduling date nights, and we do breakfast together almost every day. We go to the gym together almost every day together. And it's still hard. And it's like you can prioritize each other and it can still be challenging, or you can start feeling like roommates or coworkers or whatever. And just making that a priority, but also recognizing that we feel so richly blessed by our family, and it's a dream come true having our little kiddos to do life with. I think it makes life richer.
Yes.
So I'm grateful. When I have other like Broadway friends who are considering it, I'm always like, do it. It's the best role you'll ever play.
Mm,
The role of a lifetime.
Yeah, there you go.
beautiful.
And,
Mm.
you know, with other jobs that come up, the truth of the matter is, you know, whatever the part is, maybe I could play it, but somebody else could play it.
Mhm.
A lot of other people could play it, but only I can be Cooper and Annabelle's mom. And that's
Exactly right.
a calling that I don't take lightly.
Mm,
But it definitely makes you prioritize things differently.
mhm.
Did that answer the question?
Yes.
You
yes.
did
Beautiful.
beautifully.
Yeah.
Well, we end every episode with something fun and food related. We kind of
Ooh.
jump from the substantive
Fun
to the
and
silly.
food related.
Yes.
Perfect.
So we've got a 2-part question for you. Part 1 is queso or guac, and part 2 is what's your favorite taco?
And I want to add part 3. Where's your favorite place to get Mexican in New York when we're there
Okay.
next time?
Well, question 1 is guac if there's no onions in it. I don't like raw onions,
Okay.
but I love guac with that.
Mm,
And did you know this isn't actually guacamole, but at Costco you can get little packets of just mashed avocado, and that's really fantastic. What was the second
your
question?
favorite taco?
Favorite taco? Do you mean like toppings or where it's from?
You can go any direction you want, either purchased, made, toppings, prepared, anything you want. You've got a lot of freedom.
Oh, I think I'm probably pretty basic, like chicken, cheese, maybe some bell peppers, maybe some beans, just like
Sounds incredible.
classic,
Yeah.
Yes.
simple. Here's my hot take.
Okay.
New York is good at a lot of things, especially when it comes to food. And Mexican, it's just not like, especially Tex-Mex,
Yes.
which I feel like you can get good Tex-Mex here,
Mm-hmm.
definitely in Texas. But I feel like I haven't been blown away by the Mexican food options
Yes.
in Texas. Or sorry, in New York. There is a place over on 9th Avenue called Hell's Kitchen, and they have good Mexican food.
Okay. We
There-
went to ABC Cocina and we liked it.
How was that?
Really good.
Really good.
Where is it?
Don't have a clue. Next to ABC
You're like,
Cocina.
no clue. Not a clue.
Ginna Claire, thank you for
Yeah.
joining us. What a fun conversation.
Okay, let's
Boy,
go
to
to
be
Lady
with
Bird
you.
next time.
Delightful.
Okay.
Yes.
Live from Lady Bird. I like
Yes.
the plan.
Me too.
And we'll find a good show to go to when y'all are in New York.
Yes.
Yeah.
So good to be with you.
Thank you for having
doing
me.
this with
This
us.
is sweet.
David, what a team we have that we get to call friends who help make this podcast possible. Chris Starrett, our engineer,
Our management team at KCH.
and we are thrilled to be a part of the That Sounds Fun network.
Our music was created by the insanely talented Dave Haywood of Lady A.
And if this podcast felt helpful to you, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing, all the things.
We are grateful for you and cheering you on always.